Hello, I'm Susan Woods, your self-appointed Black Lives Matter fraud investigator. Thank you so much for your time. Well. What have we here? CNN reported today, Black Lives Matter executive accused of siphoning $10 million from donors. Now, looking at this image, if you've been following my Form 990 investigative reports, this face of this gentleman should look very familiar. Shalomyah Bowers, remember? The board secretary. He is the board secretary of the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation. I had already reported that he violated the conflict of interest policy by serving as a board secretary and also serving as a consultant of the organization, earning over $2 million. Patrice Coolers brought him on board. As she was leaving, she brought him on board as the board secretary. Now look at what is happening here. Black Lives Matter lawsuit. Executive accused. Black Lives Matter leader accused of siphoning $10 million from whom? The donors. The donors. Athena Jones is the correspondent here, as you can see in the image. And it was reported today. I want to thank my private investigators who alerted me to this news. I have people who I describe as my private investigators who send me text messages or who send me emails to let me know what's going on with the Black Lives Matter fiasco. So I thank you for letting me know that this happened today. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pause my screen just for one moment. I'm going to actually pull up um the article. So just one moment so you can see this. I was like, oh my goodness gracious of life. I knew the day was gonna come when all of the chips were going to fall down on this organization. I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. So I am not at all surprised. So let's take a look. I'm still pulling up the article and I'm gonna increase the size of my screen so you can see it. Okay, here we go. Okay, so now I'm going to show you this article so you can see it for yourself and we'll read it together. Black Lives Matter executive accused of siphoning $10 million from Black Lives Matter donors, suit says. Michelle Watson is the reporter here, and it was done 15 hours ago. So let's read. An executive at Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation is accused of siphoning more than $10 million, from donors, the grassroots arm of the BLM organization said in a court filing this week. Okay? Now, let's step back. If you want to confuse people, create entities, create other offshoots of the organization. Since this whole fiasco came about with Patrice Coolers and her other founders leaving the organization, there is now the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation. That's number one. That's the one that's been around, that's generated the $90 million in 2020. Then they created what's called Black Lives Matter Grassroots. Have no idea what that is. Then that's number two. Then number three, they created what's called the Black Lives Matter Political Action Committee, or PAC. So there's three things now that's going on with Black Lives Matter with the same group of people interacting among each other. But now the grassroots, Black Lives Matter Grassroots, is accusing Shalomyah Bowers of the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation of siphoning over $10 million from the organization that was intended for the grassroots division. I guess you followed all of that. But that's the intent. The intent is to confuse us all. That's what they want to do. So I'm going to keep going. The suit is against Shalomyah Bowers, as I said, the foundation itself, the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation itself, Bowers Consulting Firm, and unnamed individuals. Bowers was hired by BLM co-founder Patrisse Cullors in 2020 to help run the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation, an extension of the Black Lives Matter Grassroots organization, the suit said. And I thought it was the other way around. Anyway, Bowers denied the claims leveled in the suit, which Black Lives Matter Grassroots presented in a news conference last week, saying in a statement posted on the BLM website that the accusations are harmful, divisive, and false. The Global Network Foundation was originally created by Cullors as an administrative organization to raise funds to provide financial support for local level community efforts of BLM Grassroots, the suit said. While the BLM Grassroots organization did the on-the-ground work. Never heard of that. Cullors initially oversaw the Global Network Foundation, but in May 2021, decided she could no longer lead the Global Network Foundation and that it should wind down and transition the entire organization to BLM Grassroots, the suit said. So I guess she wanted to just get rid of the $90 million and then start using the Black Lives Matter Grassroots instead. I don't know. But that's what the suit said. In that same month, Cullors notified Bowers and Melina Abdullah of a formal transition plan of Global Network Foundation's leadership along with other internal leaders. Abdullah is a co-founder of the Los Angeles chapter of the Black Lives Matter. Chapters were dissolved, okay? So I don't know why they're referencing this as a chapter. The Los Angeles division was a chapter at one time, which is a multi-million-dollar chapter. And if you go way back in my investigations, you will see that I created an entire video about the Los Angeles chapter and about Melina Abdullah. There's a lot of dirt there. Bowers took umbrage with this recollection of events in the statement posted on BLM's site. BLM Grassroots and Melina Abdullah read a press statement claiming that Patrisse Cullors created a transition plan giving all of BLM Global Network Foundation's assets to BLM Grassroots. That is absolutely false, Bowers said. Now, Bowers and Abdullah are now feuding. The question becomes, again, how can Patrisse Cullors make all of these major decisions by herself? This is supposed to be a nonprofit organization governed by a board of directors. But here you see, she's saying take all of the $90 million or however many more millions we have left and just give them to the Black Lives Matter Grassroots. How can you say that as an individual person? It boggles my mind how much power she wielded in her position. It's bizarre. And nobody is checking her that I can see. The IRS, the FBI, the Secretary of State's offices. What is going on? It's just beyond me. I cannot understand this. It makes me so angry. All of this money is just floating around, and these so-called leaders are arguing with each other now over the little scraps that are left. No telling, I don't even know what the balance is anymore. I don't even know what the balance is. Mr. Bowers and the Global Network Foundation Leadership Council, where does that come from, agreed to execute the transition plan set forth by Ms. Cullors, the suit said. However, Mr. Bowers, who made $2,167,894 million from the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation in less than 8 months, decided he wanted to keep the piggy bank that the Global Network Foundation had become to him and his company. Remember in episode number 3, I believe, of the Form 990 information return analysis that I've already done, I pointed out that he made over $2 million for 8 months of work. Doing what? No one has shown a return on that investment yet. Patrice Concoulis brought him on board. Again, she made a decision to give him over $2 million to do what? Haven't seen a job description, haven't seen a return on investment statement, haven't seen anything. That's her buddy. Now, Melina Abdullah is upset because of how much money he made. But how much money has she made in Los Angeles over the years? That's the question. She doesn't provide transparency either. Bowers was also supposed to disclose certain financial and organizing information to other leaders within the group, but refused to do so, the suit alleges. The person that put this article together didn't proofread. Anyway, within months, Bowers had run these well-respected advocates out of the organization, the suit alleges, through a series of misrepresentations and unauthorized backroom dealings. Mr. Bowers managed to steal control over the Global Network Foundation as the sole board member and officer. Can you believe that? That's why you see his name signed on the Form 990. He was the only board member. How can you have one board member? So he's the only board member, the board secretary, that's governing an organization that had $90 million when he came on board, and then decided he's going to approve, because the board has to approve salaries, he's going to approve a $2 million salary for himself. This is bizarre. The suit also said Bowers changed social media account passwords for the grassroots organization and tried to register the trademark of Black Lives Matter Grassroots using the logo and design of Black Lives Matter Grassroots leader Angela Waters in what appears to be an attempt to steal the logo or prevent Black Lives Matter Grassroots from utilizing. First of all, the United States Trademark Office will not trademark anything that has Black Lives Matter in it. You can go to the trademark website and see for yourself. There have been hundreds of people who've tried to register the Black Lives Matter trademark Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation, Black Lives Matter itself, Black Lives Matter, blah, 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 and they are rejected every single time. The applications are rejected because it's too much similarity. They've made it too common now. And the trademark office does not provide trademarks on things that are so common. So the trademark office would allow you to waste your money applying for a trademark, but they will not give it to you. The Black Lives Matter Grassroots organization said in the suit that Bowers has siphoned money. Mr. Bowers continues to fraudulently raise money from unsuspecting donors, passing himself off as the organization that is doing the work of BLM, padding his own pockets and that of his associates at the cost of BLM's reputation, the suit said. BLM reputation is mud. You can forget about that. Don't even use that as a defense. The grassroots organization arm of the organization is asking for a jury trial and accuses Bowers of unfair business practices, fraud, and intentional misrepresentation, among other claims. One thing I do know about taking a case to court is this. When you take a case to court, it's never one-sided. The grassroots organization is going to have to open their books as well, if he has a good attorney. So this is going to backfire big time, because what's going to happen if it goes to court, the grassroots organization is going to have to open their books and show transparency and accountability on their part, and they don't have that. They don't have that. I hope it has a ripple effect all throughout the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation, the PAC, and the grassroots organizations, all the way even to the former chapters. Because my investigation of all of those chapters, I never found a chapter that had true accountability and transparency. The house of cards is falling down. CNN reached out to Bowers through his consulting firm Sunday, but did not receive a response. The Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation, GNF as Global Network Foundation, has since responded to the claims in a statement saying, now this is the organization that Shalomyah Bowers works for. The Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation Board requested on over 10 occasions private mediation or meetings with Melina, Abdullah, and BLM Grassroots, including and regarding social media policies. We did so in order to stay true to principles of abolition, resolving issues through conflict mediation rather than falling victim to the carceral, y'all let me know if I pronounced that correctly, carceral logic and social violence that fuels the legal system. In other words, we wanted to keep this hush-hush. We wanted to keep this under the table, but Melina is so jealous of the money that Shalomyah Bowers is getting in his pockets, she decided to file a lawsuit. It's going to backfire on her at big time. Watch. But Melina, Abdullah, and the Black Lives Matter Grassroots ignored or refused our offers. To the contrary, they would rather take the steps of our white oppressors and utilize the criminal legal system, which is propped up by white supremacy, the same system they say they want to dismantle to solve movement disputes. Can you believe that? So now we're going to blame white people for this mess. This is your mess. This is your mess. Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation, so-called leaders, founders, all of you are to blame. Don't try to push blame off on white people. You did this, the white oppressors. Give me a break. That's so pathetic. In particular, Melina, Abdullah, and the Black Lives Matter Grassroots storytelling concerning the current Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation board is harmful, divisive, and false. It only gives fodder to right-wing media's clear agenda of sowing distrust and division among Black folks. And it is in deep contrast to abolitionist values in the fight for Black liberation. Y'all are delusional. You are delusional. You are delusional. This is so stupid. Therefore, Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation is forced to respond publicly to Melina and Black Lives Matter Grassroots attacks against Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation and its current leadership. So respond we will with love, facts, and a spirit of transparency, which has been our focus over the last 6 months, as noted by the release of our IRS Form 990, which has 16 red flags in the first 5 sections, and our BLM Transparency Center, which is a joke. Isn't it something? Isn't it something? Now they're turning on each other. Now they're blaming white supremacy for them stealing money. $90 million is what they admit to receiving in 2020 after George Floyd died from people of all nationalities, all races. Well, I won't say all nationalities, but many nationalities, many different races from all over the world who gave money to the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation because they wanted to do something. They wanted to do something. And now, look at what happened. No accountability, no transparency. And now they're arguing among themselves. I'm anxiously waiting. I hope it goes to court so all of the books will have to be open. Maybe this is a blessing in disguise. They meant to keep it hush-hush. Melina is jealous of Shalomyah, so she decided to go to court, Patrice claimed to have, they claimed Patrice said, give all the money to the Black Lives Matter Grassroots because I'm gone. Thereby, I guess, closing down the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation. How do you do that legally? Nothing is legally done. It's pitiful. It's sad. But let's stay tuned, everybody. Let's keep a watch. And again, I thank my private investigators. I never disclose who you are. So if anybody wants to send me information, please feel free to do so. I appreciate it. It's very, very helpful when you do that. Thank you, and let's stay tuned. Have a great day.